Have you ever wondered why two vehicles can have the exact same spring, but one feels stiff and the other feels soft? Or why some suspensions work great while others ride terribly, even when the parts are nearly identical? Part of that answer is something called motion ratio. And if you're building custom suspension or installing coilovers or doing some other suspension upgrades like changing out your upper and lower control arms, understanding motion ratio can save you from making expensive mistakes. Let's talk about what it is, why it matters, and why improving it can dramatically improve vehicle performance. The simplest way to think about motion ratio is this. Motion ratio describes how much the spring and shock move relative to how much the wheel moves. If the wheel moves 1 inch and the shock moves 1 inch, that's a 1-to-1 motion ratio. That's ideal because every bit of wheel movement is directly controlling the shock and spring. But there are many suspensions that don't work that way. Let's say the wheel moves 1 inch, but because of where the spring is mounted, the spring only compresses a 1/2 inch. Now the ratio is 0.5 to 1, or often called 0.5, which is a low motion ratio. The wheel is moving twice as much as the spring, and that changes everything. Imagine pushing down on a torque wrench. If you're holding the very end, you have a lot of leverage. Move your hand closer to the pivot, and suddenly it takes much more force for the same amount of work. Suspension works the same way. The farther the spring is positioned from the control pivot arm, the higher the motion ratio. The closer the spring to the pivot, the worse the leverage and the lower the motion ratio. Imagine this is the front of my suspension. If we're looking at the front of the tire on the passenger side, if we remove the tire, we can see the spindle, we got the lower upper control arm and the shock. If we move the spindle up and down like the tire would move, we can see that this is mounted in the middle, and this is going to provide us roughly a 0.5 to 1 motion ratio. So now I move the shock out a little bit from where it was before. We went from a 0.5 to 1 to roughly a 0.65 to 1. And this is going to have better control of the suspension as the wheel goes up and down. We're going to be able to utilize this spring and shock a little bit more. And if we move it out a little bit farther to this position, now we went from 0.5 to 0.65 to around 0.8 to 1. This is a much higher motion ratio. This is more desirable we want, but not every vehicle can have this kind of package set up depending on where the suspension is mounted in the tire and all that kind of stuff. So this is ideal to get further away from the pivot, but it doesn't always work for every car. This is where things get interesting. The spring doesn't actually know what the wheel is doing. The spring only knows how much it's being compressed. A suspension with poor motion ratio loses effectiveness. You might install a 500-pound spring, but because of the motion ratio, the wheel only sees a fraction of that spring rate. In other words, you're not getting the full benefit of the spring you're paying for. The same thing happens with shock absorbers. The low motion ratio reduces dampening effectiveness. That means less control over body motion, less responsiveness, and more work required by the shock. Here's the part that people don't realize. Motion ratio doesn't affect performance in a straight line, it affects it exponentially. A small improvement in motion ratio surprisingly creates a large improvement in effective wheel rate. For example, a motion ratio of 0.5 doesn't give you 50% of the spring rate. It gives you only 25% of the spring's effectiveness at the wheel. Increasing the motion ratio to 0.7, and suddenly you're getting nearly double the wheel rate for the exact same spring. That's huge. This is one reason why performance cars and race cars try to place the spring and dampener attachment point as close as possible to the wheel. A higher motion ratio means better use of the spring, better use of the shock, more predictable handling, improved tire control, better ride quality, and more tuning flexibility. Instead of needing an incredibly stiff spring to get the wheel rate that you want, you can use a more reasonable spring and let the suspension geometry work for you. Let's use a simple example. Imagine two vehicles and both have a 500-pound spring. Vehicle A has a motion ratio of 0.5 and Vehicle B has a motion ratio of 0.8. Vehicle B will have dramatically more wheel control, better responsiveness, and more effective dampening even though the springs are identical. It's getting far more performance out of the same hardware. That's one reason why suspension geometry is more important than simply buying stiffer springs. If you're building a custom chassis, installing coilovers, or modifying suspension pickup points, motion ratio is one of the first things you should consider. A poor motion ratio can force you into excessively stiff springs, harsh ride quality, reduced shock effectiveness, and difficult suspension tuning. A good motion ratio allows for softer springs with the same wheel control, better ride quality, improved grip, better handling, and more effective use of the available suspension travel. So when people ask why suspension geometry matters, motion ratio is a big part of that answer. It's not just about what spring and shock you can buy, it's how effectively they can do their job. A higher motion ratio allows the wheel, the spring, and the shock to work together more efficiently. And that's why two vehicles with identical springs can feel completely different on the road. If you're planning a suspension upgrade, or a custom chassis build, or a coilover conversion, don't just focus on the spring rates. Pay attention to motion ratio, because the right geometry can make every suspension component work better. All right guys, let's go for a drive and we'll talk about the improvements that I've made with my suspension, more importantly the motion ratio improvements I've made on my car. Some of you guys have been following my channel and following my build for quite a while, and you've seen the progression of the suspension. I'm starting at the stock suspension that came with this car, and I upgraded it and changed the springs out and the shocks, and then I went from the stock style upper control arm to the Maier mod upper control arm, which moves that spring perch location further outward towards the wheel like we were talking about earlier, and that improved the motion ratio. I went from about 0.55 or so of the stock motion ratio to about 0.62, and while that 0.07 motion ratio doesn't sound like much, we're talking about like a 15 to 20% increase in motion ratio from the stock setup to what I had with that mod upper control arm. That's a massive improvement, and I felt that improvement as I was driving. And as you chase the performance of these vehicles and you're trying to go a little bit farther, Maier also has an improved setup from that called his Mod 1, and that's what I recently put on the car. And now that moved that mount location even further out to the wheel, closer to the wheel like we want. And now this car, the motion ratio is so much higher. The setup of this car feels so much better in the front that it's actually starting to show the weakness or the limits of the stock suspension that I have in the rear. I have just regular leaf springs in the rear, and I upgraded to some QA1 shocks, the double adjustable in the back, so that was a little bit of improvement, but they're still leaf springs, and we know that those are limited. There's not a lot that we can do with leaf springs. We want coilovers set up, and that, and also, but it's not just the coilovers, it's motion ratio, it's suspension pickup points, there's a lot to it. So as I dial in this car, now that I've got this front done, that rear is starting to go, okay, well I need to address the rear now to match how good the front is. Some of the changes that I've noticed are like body roll. In the stock suspension, when you go to turn the wheel, it felt like it took a second for the car to lean, and then the car would follow around the corner. And as I've upgraded my suspension to where I am now, I mean, this, you guys can't see it in the camera, but this car it can dart back and forth just how I want it, and the precision is amazing. And part of that is that motion ratio. I'm utilizing a better spring rate to go with my wheel rate, and I don't have to, the suspension doesn't have to work harder to get the same feeling that I want out of my car. Steering response is another upgrade. Before, it felt like I was giving the car a suggestion, and then it would kind of sort of do what it wants to do. Now it feels like I've got more control over the car, and when I turn the wheel, it does what I want, and I don't have to fight or guess what the steering is going to do based on my inputs. Then there's stability. On the highway, I don't feel like I'm constantly giving little steering corrections to the car. The car tracks straight and it feels settled. Then there's bumps. When I hit a bump, the suspension just absorbs it and moves on. Before, I would hit the bump and it would bounce a little bit, and it took a little bit for the car to settle out. The biggest change is the confidence that this inspires. The car corners harder, I trust it more, I know what it's doing, and it feels predictable, and that's what I want in suspension. As I work through the upgrades of my car, I'm starting to move away from the sloppiness of a 1960s car. It's not that this car was bad, but it's not only older and tired, but the suspension, the designs back then aren't what they are today. And through the improvements and upgrades that I've been able to do in the car, I've gotten this car a lot closer to what I want. It's more in the performance, it's more geared towards the spirited driving that I like to do, and I can trust the car because it does what I tell it to do, and that's something that's really important. All right, guys, that was it. I just wanted to go over motion ratio and talk about the upgrades that you can make to your car and why it's not just about buying some springs. You gotta think about the suspension that you have and the changes that you can make to improve what you've got. And that's what I've got. I'm happy where I'm at, and I can't wait to drive this car some more. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and I'm gonna go drive this car a little bit and enjoy it. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.